Hello again, Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, back with more Malifaux, and this time Brutal Effigy. Dark Elf Skin 09164. So Brutal is the effigy tied to the guild, and well, the order I've been painting these in, it's actually tied to when I started collecting the factions they're tied to. I start with Arcanists, so Arcane was first, and I only have a little bit of 10 Thunders, so Shadow will be dead last. But initially when Brutal showed up, the guild put a bounty on it. Chaotic Red. But seemingly rescinded that and decided it should be... Or no, let me think a second. Now I remember. Lucius Matheson, the governor's secretary, who's also a Neverborn himself, canceled that bounty thinking it should be studied, and Brutal simply shows up where it feels like, does what it feels like doing, and that's about it. And there's a collar on him that it's going to be picked out in a different color once I've got this base coat here. But very much based off the Death Marshal. Just one of the more iconic guild models. For some reason this looks more brown tonight, I don't know why. But, I'll be fine. Malifaux tends to put a lot of detail, have a lot of very detailed models, but that also means a lot of undercuts. So, just something to bear in mind while assembling and painting. Alright. Get the headband. I have to be very careful when I paint the hat since I'm doing this first. Okay. I'll let that dry and then move on. Okay. Next, Shield Brown 09161. So some of these army paints have a definite shine to them. So, oh, I think I just punched my camera. Oh, we're okay. So getting a little coffin. Boy, great. At least nothing broke off. And coffins are standard equipment for death marshals, which again, Brutal is based off of. The death marshals carry enchanted coffins. Can more or less contain someone or something indefinitely, which is an ability that is great for them but annoying for people going up against them, at least in 1st and 2nd edition. We'll see if 3rd did anything to that. plate mail metal. Now Brutal's got a collar on with a little bit of chain coming down. That's one piece of symbolism that's important, is that the Guild is a totalitarian organization that has made governments bow down to its control, at least before the breach reopened and other groups rose to oppose it. But that said, tyrannical control is their major thing, while some characters like Lady Justice really do care about helping people. Many of the higher-ups are incredibly corrupt and will go so far as to have people executed on trumped-up charges or completely falsified charges just to steal their possessions. And I'm going to put a bit of armor on this boot here. This looks like a separate panel, so ending on this with the lantern. Okay, that's just going to leave 2 base coats left. Okay, next, fur brown. Yep. Now I did go back over the shoes off camera a little. I felt it looked better if the entire front were done in the metal. But with that in mind, carefully trying to pick out the rest of it. Getting the holster, belts. Gloves. And the hat. Being careful on the underside, as I do not wish to nick the skin, or what it has that passes for skin anyway. Again, it is a puppet created by Zareta the Swamp Hag as part of some plan that really doesn't explain that well. But whatever it was, it went off the rails. Being careful here around the hat band, which I did in the chaotic red earlier with a little silver buckle on it. I may have to do a second coat on this, and that's fine. If I do, I'll do it off camera. Now, some rope. And I've got too much water here. I'll have to blot that out real quick. The rope's an important detail because it is what is holding the coffin onto Brutal's back. Okay. Uniform gray. So I probably will do a second coat of fur brown. Try to even out this splotchiness here, especially on the hat. But the gray, I'm just going to be careful here. It's just going to go on the base. This is, again, a custom sculpted base insert I do. Once that's dry and I've got my second coat of fur brown on, it's going to be down to shading. Alright, shading. Ruddy leather, 09109. And thinning the paint into a wash with 1 part water to 1 part paint. Darker colors, you'll need a little more water. 2 to 3 parts. Just going over the base coat. Being very careful, very meticulous. Okay, there we go. I need to let that dry before moving on. Okay. Woodstain Brown, 09160. Getting a nice solid layer over the coffin. You'll notice I'm using the side of the brush, not just the tip. And I can do Blackened Steel 09205. I should be able to do this reasonably well. Buckle, chain and collar. Belt buckles, boots, spurs. And the lantern, which is also going to have a lighting effect in it along with the eyes. Okay, and I think that's all the metal. Just two more, no, three more. It should take just two more steps to do. Well, maybe I can do the last three all at once. We'll see. Okay, last of the shading. Start with Dark Elf Shadow 09163. Okay, there's the head. Red Brick 09001. This one's a really important one. Making sure I get underneath the coat in that undercut. Can't speak right now, it's really early still. Waking up, really cold. And Stormy Gray 09088. Now there'll be some lighting effects to do, but I'm going to need to wait for the base to dry before I can apply the white that'll form the basis of that. So I just knocked off a bunch of paint. Okay, here we go. That's shading. Okay, matte white to prep for lighting effects. Now that it's stuck. It's going to be tricky to see because of the shadow the hat's casting over the face, but filling in the eyes and the lantern. No, this is essentially done as a base coat, using just enough water to thin out the paint. Okay. Once that dries, I can do the lighting effects. Once the lighting is dry, I can highlight and detail and finish. Back. Lemon yellow 09009. Oh boy. There we go. Now, for a lighting effect, you'll need 2 to 3 parts water per 1 part paint. I may have gone way too far. Let's just try to absorb some of that. See if I can get my paper towel to cooperate with me. It's a bit better. The kicker's the lantern, though. Want some of the white to show through in general. So I just kind of got a little overboard on the eyes up there, but it's not bad. Let that dry, and when it does, I can highlight, detail, and wrap up. Okay. Time to highlight and detail. Dark. Well, where is it? There we go. Dark Elf Highlight 09165. Well, I got way out of hand on the eyes there. On that lighting effect. That happens sometimes, but this will fix it. Dry brushing. So, you want a ragged feathered brush, something like this. Maybe a little more feathered, but straight paint, no water. Rubbing most of the excess out on the paper towel you've got, and this is going to be used for this and also to blot out any excess while painting, and just lightly dust the area to be affected. Vampire red. And okay. Boy, says I'm starting to have a fit here. Once again, and this is one of those jokes that will probably never be unfunny. The more technology advances, the more and more it turns out like the climax of that Mel Brooks movie Spaceballs. Specifically the part at the end where the cancel button to the ship's self-destruct is out of order. And I'm going against any raised edges. I'm focusing on the most readily visible areas, so I'm not going to be getting the underside of the coat, even though I shaded it. And because the paint dries very fast, in fact it's almost instantaneous, the highlighting tends to go pretty quickly. And I just realized there's a star on this chest I missed, so I can fix that. I'm a little frustrated though that I missed a detail that important, but I can fix it. Just take plate mail and metal. Cannot believe I missed a detail that important. So I can work with this. Okay. Let's check what I was doing. Got it. Driftwood Brown 09162. I can get a grip on a brush. Quite dry enough yet. No, and I missed a little bit of red. Oh boy, this is turning into a very awkward morning. Burnt orange 09111. Just plugged up. Oh boy. So paper clip down the nozzle to clear it. It's still not clear. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. Can use a couple different brushes here. Because not only do I have these ropes, and the holster and other thinner areas, but I've also got wider areas like the hat and gloves to deal with. Okay, now I can put a little bit of shading on that star, so blackened steel. 09205. It really frustrates me that I missed that, but it does happen from time to time. Where, yeah, so just gotta roll with it. Now going back to a larger brush in the burnt orange. You see right here that just didn't help make the wrinkles in the glove pop. And I'm just getting I'm not going to get the underside of the hat, but I'll get the top of it. Alright. Now I'm going to have to let this dry for a bit because of the bugs, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, that little problem is fixed. And I've got a new chair, so that's going to take some getting used to. True Silver 09207. Wrap this up, call it good, move on. This is actually the final highlight. No, I keep forgetting about the base. Base is going to have a little bit. Now I'm using an especially delicate touch on the light here because this is a little flimsy with the chain. Alright, there we go. Now, definitely looks like this new layout is focusing a little better, but I think there's still work to be done on it. Misty Gray 09090. In fact, this new chair's up high enough, I might have to reconsider exactly how I shoot these videos, but let's do some experimenting on the next one. Now I'm going to need a flat head and a detail brush. Where's my detailer? There it is. I think that was a detail brush too and did something to it. But matte black. Okay. Making sure I actually hit record. Be a horribly wretched waste if I forgot to. Oh boy, it's been a rough couple of days for me. Just a little dot of black and the gun barrel onto the side here. Not really visible, but I know it's there. And then taking a flat head and carefully lining the base. I'm trying to avoid hitting the basing I've done. I just want to use this to clean up the edge. And there's the Brutal Effigy. One more of these, and I'm going to switch games for a bit. Until then, I am Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, signing out.